no matter where they're at, different parts of the country, different backgrounds, different beliefs. There's this landman spirit. You're a problem solver. You got some grit, get willing to go through some hard times to get the job done and do it right and be proud of your work product.
Greetings and welcome back to another episode of the Real Deal Landman Show. Pleased to have with us Kyle Reynolds, who I guess is now our immediate past president of the American Association of Professional Landmen. We are also smack dab in the dog days of summer, and I just realized that as I said that out loud, I have no idea what that term means. Does anybody know what that means or where it came from? This sounds like a good AI question. Actually, maybe I'll look that up. If you guys,
my guess is that dog days of summer, it's so hot the dogs just lay on their sides in the shade and pant.
That's what I was going to say too.
Too hot to move.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
But mine does that every day of the year anyways.
Constant summer at the Johnson household.
I guess so.
As cheap as I am, yes. Actually, totally wrong. Okay, so this is according to Gemini. The phrase dates back to the ancient Greeks and Romans. They noticed that Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, nicknamed the dog star because it belongs to the constellation Canis Major, or Greater Dog, rises and sets with the sun during this time of year.
You know what? I'm going to go with Kyle's. That's fine, but can we put an amendment in there and kind of amend that?
It's on Wikipedia. You can change it.
You can change anything.
That's true. That's
That is
true. If you go change Wikipedia, then the AI will pick it up from then on.
That's perfect.
I've been waiting for the edits today to see who's changing LeBron James's Wikipedia page to say where he's going to go, where he's a current player at, since he's currently not on a roster. So
that's right. By the time hopefully this drops, he will already be printing those Oklahoma City Thunder LeBron James jerseys.
Yeah, that's what I'm petitioning for. Yeah.
Okay, would you want him?
Not really.
On the Thunder?
No, I don't think so. I mean, and that's no shot to LeBron. Like
I was like, yeah,
I think I'd take him, even if he only got it like 10 or 15 minutes a game. Let him, Vince Carter played till 43, 44.
He did.
Was basically just an extra coach on the bench, and
that's right.
Go in, hit some free throws, and I think LeBron wants to play at least 2 more seasons. So Bryce will come in next summer's draft out of Arizona, and he'd have both his boys in the league. It'd be pretty cool.
Did you see how he waited? So, and not to take this completely derailed, but did you see how he waited until after the Lakers signed his son?
Mm-hmm.
Like they had the option not to, and they signed him with the hopes that he was going to go there. And then the second they signed, that's when he announced, what a move. What a move, boys.
That's the kind of power and talent I don't have.
Yeah, we got to work on our next Real Deal Landman contracts. That's all I'm hearing here.
I heard that we were supposed to get 100% pay increase.
Are we?
Oh, wow.
That's good news.
Yeah, based on percentages. Yeah.
Based on percentages. This is, I don't know what you're going to do with your extra bits. Reinvest. Put that into something good for sure.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, well, okay. So let's just get out of Jairus. You are back in Colorado Springs. You're back in Colorado Springs. Kyle, are you back home as well?
I'm back in Northwest Arkansas. Yep.
Northwest Arkansas. So when we're talking about dog days of summer, what are we talking about temperatures for both of you guys right now?
We're in a heat dome. So we're in the mid 90s right now. It's been pretty toasty, which is a little odd for this time of year, but
it's a little toasty. Mid 90s. Yep. And Jairus?
We're looking at mid 80s, and even if this episode doesn't come out for a couple of weeks, I think it will still be true that pretty much all of western Colorado and most of Utah and northern New Mexico and Arizona are on fire.
They are. They absolutely are. I made a cross-country trip to see everyone at the AAPL show this year, and we drove from Oklahoma City all the way to Salt Lake City and went through Moab, Utah, and could barely see the hand in front of our face because of the fires. It was a very, very smoky place for sure. So I know that's kind of moved around, and we've been seeing the different emergency notices on the apps that we have on the phone and everything, and it looks like Colorado and Utah and New Mexico even are just absolutely just struggling right now. So yeah, How close is it to you, Jairus?
The closest one to me is probably 60 or 70 miles, but it's already taken out structures and there's people that have to evacuate. And I mean, what's crazy about these fires right now is that you have the combination of high temperatures, extremely low humidity, and the wind is just
Yeah, the wind's
insane.
the
And
killer.
so one will pop up and, within 5-6 hours, it's already at several thousand acres in size.
That's right.
Wow.
We saw one that started, it was 106 acres, and the next time we checked the app, it was at about 9 or 10,000. And
Yeah.
that was like a day later, but I mean,
Yeah.
it was really a testament to the wind blowing like crazy. And so I say all of that and how terrible that whole thing is. And I do, my heart goes out to everybody, but I am sitting right at the base of a mountain and it's 66 degrees here in Shelton, Washington. So I don't want you all to feel sorry for me, first off,
We
because
don't.
I just will not take that. I will not take that. But yeah, this is not normal for an Oklahoma kid to be able to sit up in Washington, in Shelton, Washington. It's nice and cool. And we celebrate the 4th of July up here just about every year. And you're wearing a pretty thick coat and sitting in front of a bonfire, and it's pretty chilly, which is not normal for July for me, but I love it.
Now, in the winter, does it get cold or does it stay fairly temperate all year?
Pretty temperate. Yeah, it's good snow here because it is so close to the mountains, right at the base of the Olympics. But yeah, nothing real like in Oklahoma or Kansas and everything. How it just gets just sub-zero and everything. It might get in the 20s here, but nothing bad. And never anything long. So taking some time up here after AAPL, recovering from a really good conference and doing a little fishing and eating a lot of good seafood, and then rejoining the huddled, unwashed Oklahoma masses next week. So I'm excited.
Are you fishing or noodling?
No noodling up here, actual fishing. And I think I have mentioned it before on the show of my father-in-law is very outdoorsy, very he's a true like outdoorsman, a logger. Actually, he's a logger. And so when I come up here, I have fished, I have noodled, I've done all the outdoors things, but I don't think that ever registers with him. I think he doesn't believe any of that because we are so separate. And so we'll go out on like his boat and he'll be like, all right, we're gonna fish here in a minute. Let me hook up your lure, and he'll put it all together and he'll get it all. And I just sit there smiling, and then he throws it out usually, and he sets the depth, and he gets it, and he does everything except get the fish like locked in. And then he'll be like, "Okay, here you go. You can hold it now." And I just sit there smiling and hold it and catch a fish, and I feel like the happiest 5-year-old out on the bay. So he is he's a good man.
There's a lot of people who pay a lot of money for that kind of
I
treatment.
know.
Mm-hmm.
I totally know. I think we're gonna start doing an annual. We need to start up some sort of a real deal landman once a year, like a coho or a king salmon fishing expedition. I think we could probably get that going. Oh man, I'm telling you, my nothing would make the father-in-law happier than to be able to show all of my landman friends and everything that he gets to put together a fishing pole and bait a hook for me. That'd be a good look.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, President Reynolds, ex-president. What do we call you now? His royal former highness.
Immediate past president is official title as of
The
today.
IPP.
Yeah, you know me down with IPP. that's what my wife has been saying. So she's happy to have me back.
Did you feel did it feel like a quick year? Like, did it just go by in just an absolute, just like blink of an eye? Or was it one of those things of where you felt every different trip that you went on and every different meeting that you sat through? Like whenever you get to annual meeting as the president, is this a culmination of that whole year? Or what were the feelings like whenever you walked into annual this year?
Yeah, I think it's I've described it to people as like kind of a duality of things. It's you feel very honored to be able to do it, accomplished that you did all the things for the year and nothing fell apart. People kind of forget sometimes that you're in charge of 25 staff members and a $60 million business, but you're not there hands on all the time. So if there's a staff issue or so, like you've got to jump in and be able to execute, work with your executive committee, that group is set up to be able to carry out the business of the organization outside of the quarterly board meetings. So you've got that kind of eustress or tension in the background. So there's with that comes, I think, relief at the end. There's like you were very happy and in the moment all year, and it does go by super fast. But then you hit the very end of it, and there's just like weight off your shoulders a little
I
bit.
believe
So
it.
yeah, it was neat. But the year did go by very, very fast. There's a couple of times where I had, successive trips over and over, and you get kind of tired and worn down a little bit. But overall, no, it was a great year, and again, very, very cool to get to do, and honored to be able to serve all the landmen out there. So
give us some of the stats. How many miles? How many speeches? How many cities? What do you know off the top of your head?
So I use Gemini to help go back through my calendar and pull some of this data together for me, and honestly haven't fact checked it completely. So some of these could be off a little bit, but I think it's pretty close. So it's a little over 27,000 miles traveled.
Wow.
For perspective, the average NFL team only travels 8,000 miles per year. The Earth is only 24,900 miles around. So I could have just done one big trip and just been gone the
Just
whole
knock it
time.
out all in one. Why not?
Yeah.
Right?
64 speaking engagements was
Holy
another.
cow.
24 states visited, and I did 27 of our 37 affiliated local associations. I was able to meet with most of those, and then about a dozen college campuses or groups of students that I was able to meet with. Some of those are the accredited programs that AAPL has, and some were not. So just kind of when there was opportunity, if I was in a town and be able to talk to some kids, added that to the calendar. So.
Did anything surprise you of going to those different, like talking to different students? Anything really memorable of any conversations you had? I know one of the topics at AAPL this year was talking about I didn't get to sit in on the class, but like we need for a new era of like young landmen coming in. Did you feel like that talking to these groups that there was a renewed interest?
I think there's a lot of interest. I think anytime you're around like younger people, there's this energy, and
Yeah.
you're not jaded or worn down by society, or you're not cynical about things, and so they're very excited about all energy. West Virginia stands out to me. I did not know this, but I'm the first sitting AAPL president to ever visit West Virginia's campus. And it's an accredited program, but we've always used those committees or the Landman Scholarship Trust. President's never gone, and it worked out. The time I was there was their capstone class, so I got to see all these senior students presenting, and they were working on data center projects. How do you do commercial application and get right of ways and get power and water? And I was blown away with the ingenuity and resourcefulness, and they did use AI a lot, but they also had to like understand what they were getting and what questions to ask, and they did a great job. So yeah, I think a lot of interest. AI is interesting from talking to most of the students. They are using it a lot in everything, and yet their professors and the schools were pushing back on them, somewhat being protectionist, I think, probably of their jobs, and telling them not to. And so there's kind of this, again, balancing act of you don't want to keep tools away from the kids, but they need to know that 2 + 2 is 4. So if they get 5 as an answer, they can issue spot that and kind of readjust.
That's right. That's definitely right. Man, that's interesting.
Kind of like when we were going through school as kids and we weren't supposed to use calculators, except for very, very specific problems on a very specific type of math, and everything else you couldn't use a calculator, which, like today, if I need to do math on something, I'm going to pull out the calculator on my phone or on my computer or whatever. Like I don't grab a pen and paper and try to sketch it all out. Of course, I'm also not very bright, so maybe it does help, for the other people.
It's funny.
When I don't know, I imagine that when you start off your presidency, you have this list of items or agenda or things that you want to be able to talk about people throughout the year. And in pretty short order, you'll find that you're either going to be able to stick with that agenda or you're going to have to pivot on something that was totally unexpected. What did that happen to you, and how did that play out?
I don't think I had to have a big pivot, but I think it is interesting because it does go by so fast to say, did you check a box on something and actually accomplish what you set out to do, or is it still a work in progress? So
Yeah.
the kind of two main things that I wanted to try to work on, one, which is we're still talking about it, and I think Drew, you set in on one of the panels at the annual meeting, is addressing the labor shortage and field day rate, pay for those folks, and education and training. And so we did a lot of great work there, and I think there's going to be more exciting stuff to come. So that was it was cool to see people rallying behind that, both as the independent contractors obviously want somebody to be an advocate for them, but hearing the operators say also, like, yes, if tomorrow my broker didn't pick up the phone, my junior landmen don't have the experience or wherewithal to go do that job. And so we've got to address it. And so that was really cool. The other thing was trying to make it easier to work with AAPL, whether that's on the volunteer side or to streamline some forms, or just remove some of the bureaucracy. With that is where maybe my pivot happened, is I started doing more outward speaking engagements instead of just talking to landmen about landmen things. And I think that resonated well. I think our members liked that somebody, again, is out there speaking on their behalf and explaining what landmen do. And I think it also helped kind of give us a seat at the table and make landmen stand out a little bit, to make people want to know more about it. Jairus, you mentioned kind of looking at some of the topics from annual meeting when we were chatting earlier, and we'll get into it a little bit later. But it's when you have topics that bring in people from different disciplines, or maybe they don't do anything with land, but they want to understand how it works, or they think that AAPL is a good source of education for something that historically we might have considered, landman adjacent. I met a guy at the annual meeting that came in from Ohio. He's not an AAPL member, but he got put in charge of managing a mining lease and knows nothing about it. He's like way above my pay grade. So I found this course online, and I'm here to learn and see if this is a group that can actually help me. And that's ultimately what I'd like to have out there, is that AAPL is easy to find. We're easy to do work with, remove. Instead of having whatever the original form, I think you had to have 4 landmen sign off and vouch for you to apply for membership. And it's like, could we have like a checkbox? And like, is there a way? Well, like I'd rather make it easier to let folks in, and if you have issues with them, there's disciplinary, there's ethical complaints, whatever it may be. But don't put up this big firewall to make it hard to work with us.
I think that's a great goal, to be able to help more people be able to get in. I heard, whenever I was sitting there, I heard mining questions whenever I was in the lobby. Somebody else came up and was talking about lithium extraction, and talking about it was their first AAPL too. So you can see all those people that are kind of outside the norm, that are wanting to come in and be able to learn and be able to get to know and network, and be able to find out more about the industry. So I think you're doing a good job of it. That's great.
We did have a funny incident, speaking of new people and first timers. So the board of directors meet the day before the conference starts. And it's our first time to have an annual meeting with our new association management software that kind of does all the booking and back end stuff. And back in March, I think you guys may have talked about it on one of your episodes, AAPL changed the definition of a student member to include students that aren't at our accredited programs. So that change had happened in March, and then we've got this new event coming up. Well, we're sitting in the board of directors meeting, and we're introducing guests and past presidents, and there's a girl sitting on the back row, and she's from Golden Gate University and joined as a member. And when she was clicking through to come to annual meeting, it said, "Do you want to register for the board of directors meeting?" And she said, "Yeah,
I'm here.
I'm here." But it was, and again, if there's no reason to kick her out, it's like
Right.
she can listen and be engaged. And I think she walked away with, great insights. I don't know if that's going to end up being her career, or she's just interested in knowing what's going on because the TV show, or what. But I think we're going to continue to see more and more of that with kind of first timers and just general interest in the profession.
That's fantastic. And you mentioned the TV show just there. Did you hear in all of these? I mean, what'd you say, 60 different speaking arrangements that you did? Did you get questions at every one of those, or at a majority of people talking about interest in the TV show? Or did you hear that enough to where you were tired of it by the end of it?
There were a lot of questions about the TV show, what we
I
thought
bet.
about, what was real, what was not. But it's also helped with engagement. I mean, if it
Yeah.
wasn't for the TV show, I would not have been contacted by New York Times, CBS News. Like
It's awesome.
a bunch of groups were reaching out because they now know what that is. And sometimes those, like the CBS group reached out after the Iran conflict started.
No kidding.
And again, we don't have anything to do with that, but like we would not have been on their list that they produce via Paramount, the show. And it's like, this is a group that works in energy. We should reach out to them and see if they have a comment.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I know you like data stuff. Kyle, do we have, as an association, is there any type of data or anything to point to that shows that the TV show has increased membership?
We have a lot of data showing increased traffic on the website and engagement in all of our social media platforms. Our membership numbers are up, but there's historically not a button to check to say why you care or what your lead in interest. And so we're doing a lot more surveys right now and more periodical ones instead of just waiting for the big compensation study that's done every couple of years. And so I'm hoping we can continue to get more feedback, especially on younger members. That's again, when on college campuses. I was at SMU and they're not an accredited program and mostly more finance focused than, traditional oil and gas folks. And they were very interested. They see the show and like, I think I'm going to go to school in Texas because of the show. TCU, I think, has been mentioned a couple times by AAPL. They had 28 students sign up for a Landman 101 class just because the show is on TCU's campus and they wanted to know more about Landmen. So
that's really cool. That is really cool. Where do you think, like over the next few years? So we've got an incoming president of Julia Woodard, who is a fantastic. I mean, if anybody was to step into your shoes afterwards and continue just like this positive momentum, I mean, it's absolutely Julia. She's
absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah.
So the next conference next year is DC. Is that right?
It is.
That's amazing.
It's
That's
going to be
really cool.
really, it's going to be really neat. So a couple things there just to make a plug for it, back to making me wanting things to be easier to work with APL. Registration is open a year in advance. We would normally wait till the start of the next year. So you'd get December or January stuff would start coming out about the June meeting. And so we've got registration is open. There's a little rebranding effort going on. You'll see more from APL. We're calling the week Landmark, and the Landmark event will include APL's annual meeting, will include a board of directors meeting. Kind of you have these events within this larger, I guess, specific events inside this larger event that's a little bit easier to market and kind of extend the time. DC is a great place that people want to go to the Smithsonian and go meet their local congressman, whatever that is. And so
For
if you
sure.
still think about things in a short, just an annual meeting, day or 2 day event, you don't have that much time. So instead there's some ideas around right now, maybe just having morning classes and giving people the afternoons open, but extend across the whole week of Landmark and have different things going on. So
That's going to be super interesting. And I know that will be heavily attended. So good
yes.
thing that it's open now and people can start kind of getting their plans ready for next year. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. We've got Julia coming in this next year, and we've got the great conference that'll be in DC, and just ending a fantastic one in Salt Lake City, where we're talking about adding, so much with the renewable focus, and we hear the mining and we hear lithium extraction and everything. Like if you were just throwing all the spaghetti at the wall and seeing what stuck, where do you think in like even 10 years, as quickly as 1 year goes, how do you think the change, or what do you think is going to change in the next like 10 years for these meetings and for the AAPL in general to kind of keep up with all of these different ways that seem to be just all at the forefront right now?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity right now. I think for anybody that was at the annual meeting in Salt Lake this year, there were a lot of young folks. I now that I'm 40, I'm a man. I don't get to consider myself.
Mike Gundy approved. That's
Yeah.
right.
But I was really excited. I walked into the open reception and I didn't know everybody, and that's a good thing.
That is.
It's a good thing to
That's a
continue to
great
have new
thing.
faces and have people excited. I think as we continue to expand into the larger, broader definition of energy, we're going to have to welcome people with open arms that may not be used to how we do things or know the history of the past. But you also have to protect that kind of integrity of your organization and stick with your values. I got
Absolutely.
another kind of end of your term last minute that not able to wrap up, but there was a request from, I think it was a coalition of 8 different universities that do mining. It's all hard mineral and critical and rare earth. And now that that's such a buzzword and a thing, they're wanting to know if they can get involved with APL and send their students. And so it's great. It's super exciting. But you also, does that mean we open a new chapter in, Washington State or like wherever people are doing these things? And the answer is probably yes. We just need to be prepared for how that works and be able to continue to move the organization forward.
So here's kind of a delicate question, but I think you probably got a pulse on it over the last year. In visiting with so many different members and local associations, we're talking about growth of the association. We're talking about changes to the profession, different perceptions, et cetera. Do you get the sense that most of the members are okay with that? Or is there a sentiment of we need to hold on to tradition and we need to hold on to oil and gas landmen? That's all we've ever been and that's all we should ever be. And that's all the association should be.
Yeah, I think I would liken it to kind of any group of people. There's maybe louder voices on one side or the other, but basically any group of people are going to fall under kind of a 10-80-10 rule. And so you got 10% are one really hard one side, 10% are really hard the other, and the goal is to lead the 80 to not be at each other's throats, is to be able to see that compromise and continue to move forward. So as a whole, I think people are excited about it. I think it also varies, the local associations spread all over the country, and some of those places haven't had oil and gas activity in 20 years.
Mhm.
So they've already moved on, whether they're working remotely in other plays or finding additional work and doing carbon capture sequestration all over Louisiana and lithium in South Arkansas and East Texas. And, I think a lot of places have already pivoted, and there's some groups that haven't had to in, Houston, Midland, Oklahoma City, maybe, but everywhere else has already been kind of on this path for several years. It's like AAPL is just catching up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were questions or comments that you frequently heard throughout your year that you, not necessarily that you weren't prepared for, but you weren't expecting to be as big of a topic as it was?
Let's see. I mean, AI dominated a lot of things this year.
Makes sense.
And I kind of expected that, but that was a big theme. There was a lot of questions as people kind of started hearing rumblings that I was interested in addressing day rates. Is like, what are real solutions? Back to people saying it's just supply and demand. APL can't do anything. It's like kind of the early, and it's like, I can't guarantee you that we can make a change, but if we don't try, we're doing a disservice to our members.
That's right.
And so everybody's got to be at least open to hearing that conversation. And if we get enough data and information together for folks, it comes back on the individual members to negotiate their own deals and figure out how they can, better help themselves. So
It's not bad. So the main one that I wanted to know is, so it is a huge honor to get to be president of this, and like you said, like that's one of the things that you'll be able to just hold on to the rest of your life, of being able to make a difference and find out so many problems that people are looking for, find out ways that AAPL is trying to, like, kind of just raise the bar for everybody. But in the last year, is there any moment that really stood out to you of something that you'll look back on and be like, that's something I'm really proud of, that I was able to help make change? Or some conversation that you had with someone that you were like, okay, this absolutely makes it all worth it?
yeah, I don't. I'm trying to think of like a better like anecdote or story to be very specific, but the thing that stood out to me the most, which was opposite of what I kind of thought going in. I initially thought I would not do as much travel. I was told by a bunch of past presidents how impactful it is to go visit all the affiliated local associations. And I was like, if we're going to make it easier to work with AAPL and volunteer with AAPL, we've got to get rid of some of the travel, or nobody can ever do this. And so the step that I took with that was taking control of my calendar. And so instead of letting each group request when I came and just on them, I got all of their meeting dates and then had used Gemini to help me build a calendar.
Nice.
So you're not in and out of airport back and forth, and be like, hey, if I'm nearby here, would you guys mind moving your meeting up to lunch? And then I could do lunch and dinner events within this, 100-mile radius of each other and be gone one time. And everyone was open to it. I had no organization say no. There was some
That's awesome.
pushback or some coordinating on a couple, but most of them without fail were like, that's great. We're excited you're coming. And so after doing that though, and kind of, I wanted to, if I was going to move people's cheese, I wanted to actually show up instead of just like messing stuff up. And then, APL's gone to
Right.
shit. They don't do anything. They don't care about us. I didn't want that to be my legacy, and it may be. We'll find out. But so I did travel a lot, and meeting with the people was the thing. So it's exactly what the past presidents had said, that it means a lot. You could tell that it meant a lot to especially the local field guys that don't travel to annual meeting or don't travel to NAPE. They do title in that local county courthouse and have been doing it for years. And for APL to come out and for them to feel like they have a voice and be heard, I think it meant a lot. it was really cool to get to see people. And I mentioned this in my speech in Salt Lake, is to see no matter where they're at, different parts of the country, different backgrounds, different beliefs, but there's this like landman spirit. I think that's like you're a problem solver. You got some grit, get willing to go through some hard times to get the job done and do it right and be proud of your work product. And so seeing those people that they show up, they look different in each place and different backgrounds, but those people exist kind of across the country that are part of APL.
They've all got a good story to tell. That's the main thing. Did you give Julie any words of wisdom or advice as she took the gavel?
I did. And Julie's awesome. Like you said, give a great plug and shout out for her. She's going to do an amazing job. I think for her, I want her to feel empowered, just like I did to move the schedule around. And if something comes up or she's excited about, it doesn't have to be, the continuation of things that I started. I obviously want to make sure things get finished, but she's got to put her own touch on this. The speeches that I gave a lot this year really focused on exciting new demand. The electrification of everything was kind of a theme for me for the year. And it's like, if we're going to have all the need for all of the additional electricity, whether that's for data centers or other things, we're going to need landmen for all those projects. Yep. And so that became more of a rah-rah speech. Obviously, gave a lot of shout outs and benefits for APL and made sure that people knew that's what we were there for. And that's why I told Julie, she can do whatever she wants to. Nancy McCaskill did like town hall fireside chats and would have other people come on the stage with her because that was her personality and flavor. And so, I want her to be empowered to be herself and make her own mark.
I think that's fantastic. I couldn't help but notice that, like, it was because we had you on right whenever you got to be president, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're having right whenever off. So we had you on whenever you were just taking the gavel and you were just kicking it off. And then the annual meeting comes around and then Jairus is the only one that's asked to speak. And I get to sit on the sidelines the whole time. And it's not that I don't want good things to happen to Jairus. I just want to be in control of them. That's the whole thing. So,
I didn't know if you guys can actually be in the same place at the same time.
We really can't.
Your insurance wouldn't cover that.
No, it You are very wise. This is why you were president. Those are the decisions that we needed you to be making. That's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
What we're really hoping that someday we can get one of these keynote gigs. If you can pull any strings on that, we think we could turn a room upside down if we were ever given that opportunity.
I think y'all do great,
man. Well, Kyle, I mean, we're not the only ones or the last ones to say it, but you did a fantastic job and you represented the community and the landman name well. And it's a pleasure to know you. It was a very, very, beyond productive year that we were able to see from the outside looking in. And we know how much hard work goes into that. And so we would absolutely say congratulations for a job well done, because it's all about representing the cause, representing being able to build this up, and we couldn't have had a better president this last year. So you deserve the victory lap this next year, my friend.
Well, thank you so much. It really means a lot.
Drew's trying to wrap us up, but I've got 2 more questions for you.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So one of them is, I guess, what is something that you learned either through experience or from hearing a story from somebody in your travels that you think everybody ought to know or ought to be able to hear or ought to be able to learn?
I think one of the biggest, you don't do this job for personal benefits or gains, but one of the things that I took away from it is I'm a way better public speaker and way better at being able to be nimble and make adjustments on the fly than I ever thought I could be. I'm a calendar junkie and live in the future at times. And so when people do things different than I thought we were going to, sometimes that it just throws off my day. It's no, I thought we were having dinner here and now you're taking me here. Now I already knew what I was going to order. Now I'm mad. That's my nature. And so to go into this role and know that you're going to show up somewhere and they may not have AV. They may actually just need you to talk extemporaneously for the next hour. Okay. I don't think that I would have been comfortable in my shoes doing that 12 months ago. I think I got better at, problem solving and figuring it out, adjusting the speeches too. When I was in Michigan, I'd spoken with a smaller group, kind of their executive committee, that sort of thing. So I'd gotten a good engagement. but they had me to their state oil and gas dinner. It's like the local or the state government kind of has a big dinner. And they had me to that and had told me I would also be speaking at that. So I had a different speech prepared. Just after I sat down with my plate of food, they let me know that I was only going to have 6 minutes to give my speech, that I had prepared about a 35 or 40-minute presentation because the real guy from the Coast Guard from the Perfect Storm was there. They'd paid as a keynote. And so I couldn't take more of his time since I was free. And so, again, it was one of, all right, how can I take all this and make it high level where you actually get a takeaway and remember AAPL when I'm done, instead of like, who was the guy that almost messed up the Coast Guard speech?
So speaking of dinner, Kyle, I know you're a guy who likes food and restaurants and good and fun, exciting new places. In your travels, were there any particular restaurants or dishes that stood out that just made an impact that brings a smile to your face remembering?
God, it's a good one.
Yeah, so I've got a couple. When I was in Pittsburgh for the Appalachian Land Institute, the local group took me to dinner at Arlecchino Ristorante. I'm not Italian, so I've butchered that, but I did not know how big of a Italian influence there is in that part of the world. And this was it's an old 1907 schoolhouse, one-room schoolhouse, like single room, red brick. And they've taken the back is like open flame kind of cooking stuff. Like you're all like right there in one small space. They do the like tableside cacio e pepe where they've got the big Parmesan wheel and they're spinning it and putting it in there. And they make like a hot oil. It's like a Calabrian pepper inside olive oil that they put like hot oil on top of a bunch of dishes when they come out. It was fantastic. It's probably, as far as like start to finish meal, one of the best meals I had all year. New Orleans is always great. I love that as a food city. So the Plano group down there does their executive night every year around Mardi Gras, and has a balcony. So you get to do the event, speak and all that stuff, and then get to go be entertained for the evening. That was a highlight. I'll tell you the one thing, I'm glad I tried it, but I would encourage you guys to try it one time, because everybody should try something one time. But I'm not going to be a fan of the local cuisine that I got to try in Evansville, Indiana at the Tri-State Association. So I don't remember the exact date, but there's several like really old, like farmhouse looking buildings that are 150-year-old establishments that are like bar and grill kind of tucked into neighborhoods. But that area is still famous for the brain sandwich.
Get out of town.
Most of the country has outlawed it because of fear of mad cow disease, but not there in Evansville, Indiana. So it's a slice of cow brain, battered and deep fried, served on a toasted bun.
And give us the review here. What'd you think? Like, what's it comparable to? Anything?
So the thing, it's disgusting. I'll jump the gun there. The texture is the piece, like the flavor is fine. It's mild. It's like there's nothing. It's not like off-putting the taste, but there's a drink, like a fake shot people will sometimes give each other at a bar, called a cement mixer. And so you have somebody take a shot of Bailey's Irish cream and they chase it with lime juice, and the milk curls and like gets gushy in your mouth, and it's gross. That's basically what this is in your mouth. Just like how do I get rid of that? So I did what a sensible person would do, and had also ordered a smoked bologna sandwich as a sidecar to my brain sandwich.
There you go.
And just pivoted, put my napkin on top of the brain sandwich so the locals weren't offended. But bologna was very good in that region as well.
Well, good. You had a fallback. That's good.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Italian influence in Pittsburgh. There's actually, like, if you go south on the interstate through northern West Virginia, there's actually a huge Italian community and influence that's in that region. And there are some fantastic local Italian restaurants. If you do some deep reading and if you talk to some locals who are brave enough to tell you, they will also tell you that there's a pretty significant mafia presence that exists in rural West Virginia on the northern side of the state.
Wow. That makes sense. I mean, I did that drive from Pittsburgh down to Morgantown when I was going to go speak with the students at West Virginia, and cool town, beautiful. But it's like you drive for almost 2 hours and there's nothing.
Yeah.
Like it's just like emptiness. And then you pop over this little hill, and Morgantown is as densely developed as like Athens. It's or San Francisco. It's like all you can see is like tops of buildings sticking up those hillsides. There's like no trees, no green space left. And it's like, why don't y'all move just a little further out? Like there was a time when it was a coal town and you needed to be, right where you were going to work. But it's like, I don't know, just kind of surprising, but really, really good people in that part of the world.
Yeah, you go even further south than Morgantown. There was a restaurant I went to in one of those small towns once, and the building was massive. The restaurant, though, was very tiny inside the building, and most of the walls were mirrors, but I'm pretty sure they were like whatever the
Two-way?
one-sided mirrors.
Two-way?
Yeah, two-way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am convinced that's what it was, and that there were other activities that were happening on the other side.
Rut row.
Yeah.
Don't love that.
Any outgoing closing comments for us, Kyle, on something that you wanted to cover today that we haven't gotten to yet?
I think just a reminder of folks, landmen kind of should be involved in any energy project. I've talked throughout the year about kind of 4 different lanes that I can wrap my head around. And, your traditional hydrocarbons, oil, gas, coal, your renewables with wind and solar, geothermal. And then you've got kind of the rising critical and rare earth minerals. And then the other lane, which I think people have kind of not thought about as often, is in the commercial infrastructure data center realm. And so I just, AAPL is going to continue to be focused in all 4 lanes and supporting our members in all of those. I was on a call earlier this week working on some of the stuff we're going to roll out, additional stuff on data centers and commercial work in August. So hopefully people will continue to be excited about that and find opportunity in those emerging spaces. The other is to continue to talk about and be open to this idea that something's got to change with the way independent contractors and field landmen. Otherwise, we're not going to have a workforce there. And so, again, AAPL is engaged Boston Strategies, and we're going to have a lot of additional information coming out about that this fall. But it really is up to all the members to continue that dialogue themselves as well. So
excellent. Well, Drew already gave you all the high accolades for all the wonderful things that you did. I echo those comments. And once again, thank you for your service on what you did. And obviously, you're not going away. You're still the IPP. Yeah, you know me.
Mm-hmm. That is another point I was going to make that I think is interesting. So I'm too young to just go like get sent to pasture. And so I think it's going to be good to see for APL for the next several years as leaders are younger and still involved with the organization. I think it helps some continuity in messaging and direction instead of it being somebody near retirement and kind of having one hoorah and wanting to make one chance to leave a mark. I would say this is still early in my journey and service to APL. Do think they may have to change some of their the bylaws though, because I was given a golden lease as my outgoing my presidency, and with that I don't pay dues and I don't pay for my certification, and I get several events for free. And I think they're used to this only lasting a couple of years. But our oldest member right now is 92 years old. I could put in another 50 plus years of service and just draining.
You're gonna make this worthwhile right here, Kyle. Let me tell you.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So,
well, it's deserved. You definitely deserve it, man. Like I mean, there's something to be said for sure for a younger era of leadership, and that goes for everything, not just AAPL. Like I love it of being able, the policies that we can enact are going to be the ones that are going to affect us too, right? Mm-hmm. Like I think that's good. Not just I put it in place and then I'm gone in a few years. So, I think you're doing the right thing, and it's so good to have your leadership as a part of something that can help drive AAPL, and Julie and the rest of these people that are getting excited about this field. And it's good to see the membership continuing to go up, and you guys definitely had something to do with that. So hats off to you.
Yep. Well, thank you. And thank you guys for having me on today. I always love the chat.
Absolutely, man. Well, yeah, Jairus, I mean, any last words of wisdom from you?
I guess one last question, Kyle. I mean, from everything you've learned and experienced, which is the best podcast out there that features the words Real Deal and Landman in it?
We do need to know this.
you're not going to stump me here right at the end. There's so many to pick from.
We teed him up better for that.
Yeah. No, you guys do a great job. You always keep it fun and lighthearted, informative, obviously, but I think some of these can get a little stuffy at times, and so I really do enjoy listening to you guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. With that, we will take it out. Drew, enjoy your time in Washington. Hopefully, we see you again someday.
Maybe.
Kyle,
we'll see.
Kyle, thanks for being on with us, and that wraps up another episode of the Real Deal Landman Show. See ya.
See you.
See y'all.